Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. Uh, Give me a second. I gotta feed these guys. I usually feed them when I get off from work. But I wanted to talk about something real quick. I saw that Trump had went to NASCAR after going to the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, and what he did was he went and took uh, that armored car and he rode around the track twice. Now, people are like literally complaining about the prices of everything going up. They going in here and auditing everybody because they saying that everybody is wasteful spending. And this dude is spending millions of dollars after firing all these people and cutting all these programs to go watch the NASCAR Daytona 500. Like this is what I call pure comedy. Like the guy, I don't know if this is real or not. This is hilarious. This dude is basically cutting and destroying everybody's programs so that he can use Air Force One to fly to the Daytona 500. And then whenever anybody asks about this is what people keep saying. Well, what about Biden and he's changing everything? Well, one, yeah, he is changing everything. And two, Biden, when somebody's making a mistake or doing something wrong, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's profitable to say, what about? But in this situation, Biden's out of there now. Biden is out the picture. Biden was not the only president of the United States. They have been accumulating debt for a long time. And so saying like, what about Biden in this type of situation is really counterproductive. It shows that you guys don't really care about politics or what's happening. You're just fans of like a fiery movement. What about Biden? They should make a website called whataboutbiden.com. Who knows what it'd be about, but it'd be about Biden, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, that's what they should just do. Make like a big play place for everybody that's going to say, what about Biden? And let everybody play there, you know what I mean? But in terms of the real world, like for people to lose all these programs, this is one thing I find ironic. The people that lost all their programs were not the people that I thought would be losing programs. Okay, hold on. Whenever a cat hears cans, if they eat wet cat food, dude, don't worry. I'm using a plastic spoon. And people like, you feeding them cats out your No, but anyways, like, when I found out DEI was like farmers, dude, DEI is like farmers and all government. So if the government contracts somebody to do something, which that's what they do with everything almost, you're DEI. Let me explain this. So if, let's say, the government contracts you to build homes. Let's say a portion of the government contracts you to go clean something up. Let's say a portion of the government contracts you to do some research for your firm. You guys wouldn't believe how many people are paid by the government. A lot of people do make income. I'll give you a simple something a lot of people don't know about, like these hospitals and stuff. You guys know that a lot of this funding and grants and stuff that goes to the hospitals comes from the federal government. Same with these cars, right? If it wasn't for DEI, right, none of these car manufacturers would probably still be making cars. The government bailed them out, right? So I just find it really ironic that this dude is going to NASCAR in the Super Bowl while gutting all these programs talking about wasteful spending, and people seem to be okay with that. That's not cool. That's really ridiculous behavior. And in all honesty, I think that it's good that Trump won because I wouldn't want all this bullshit of a firestorm put on Kamala anyway or anybody else. I think the perfect person to go down with this shithole is in power right now. So when it all happens, it can be on dude. But anyways, I heard somebody recently, and I seen a bunch of videos talking about black people, please stop what the fuck around and find out. And like, I just don't know how to keep telling people this. Black people live a lifestyle, right? This is America. If you're from here, you know how it goes. Really shitty. Well, then, like, on top of that, people in verbal conversation and with the criminal justice system and a lot of other aspects of the media Just make us look like dancing monkeys sometimes. They talk about us profusely and make our lives harder. Well, now the irony of all that is now the shoe's on the other foot. People will be like, what about black people in their programs? Can you name one? Please say SNAP. That goes to everybody else than us. Please say housing in Section 8. And while you guys keep talking about the ghetto and housing, actually, do you know what Section 8 is? Yeah, interesting. Then, you want to know something even funnier? They keep talking about the death rate for African Americans, the Caucasians live longer. So then who's using more SSI? This is that moment in history where people found out that black people wasn't playing. It really was shitty for us. And now a lot of people get to see farmers. They cut off. One dude said he had 80 grand worth of wasted farm stuff because he was contracted by the government to go sell and make food. Another guy talking about 400,000. This is what I don't get. Imagine you make $400,000. That's almost $500,000, right? And you complain about people getting 200 to 400 in food stamps. Let me write an equation for you. So 400 a month in food. I'll even take it to the maximum. 400 a month in food stamps. Not the maximum, but I'll take it up a notch because most people only get 200 food stamps, and you got to work to get it now. So this is for the people that's making minimum wage and can't survive with all this craziness. So the government's like, let's give them some food so they can survive, right? People had a problem with that. So if you make 400 a month in 12 months, that's $4,000, right? Then after that, you would have to go times 10, right? 10 years, that'd be $40,000. That means in 120 years, getting paid every month, they will finally have the 400,000 you got at once. 120 fucking years. That's almost 2 lifetimes. So it comes now. The dude's on the camera crying, talking about it's all wasted. This other guy with 80 grand worth of farm stuff and all these other farmers. Because I'm gonna explain something to you real quick. I've been talking about this on this camera for so long. Y'all can call them prophecies, predictions, my word come true, whatever you want to say. I said that they're going to take all this land, privatize it, and just like how they corporatized the mom and pop shops, now there's a Walmart and a Walgreens and a Target and all these major corporations, they're going to do that with land and everything. Now you guys getting salaries making 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000 a year, 200, $500,000, whatever, all is going to be gone. And they're going to corporatize everything. All these people like pharmacist jobs and random jobs for people making all this money. Well, now they're coming for the land. They're coming for the real estate. They ultimately want the food and everything to be farmed by like Africa and South America. And then they want us to be a privatized whole private United. I'm telling you. And the problem with things like that is like you'll hear people saying Democrats, they used to be the slave owners. When people use talking points like that, they're not living in reality. That's like saying the Mongols used to try to attack the Chinese, so all Russian people are evil and against China. Or what? You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't think like that. You can't. That's a really dumb way to think. And so, you know, throughout my lifetime, I've heard people say, oh, it ain't slavery, oh, it ain't. But ironically enough, emancipated slaves was worth $300 in 1862. Now, $7.25, which is federal minimum wage times 40, isn't even $300. They are playing people, and when people try to do better, like these northern states do sometimes, then people are like, and there's a lot of corruption out there, don't get me wrong. People that are doing all kind of wild. See, like as a politician, I'll explain some to you guys. All right, let's say I'm a huge politician and I set the laws. So now these 10 corporations are all working together to pay me to stay in office. So when I say that they're not directly giving me cash yet, they're putting all this media attention out there to put me out there to give me, what's the word I'm looking for? Propaganda or news coverage and all that stuff, media coverage, so everybody can see me. That's why I tell people, do not vote green, because what you're doing is you're splitting the major parties. Green just ain't there. So back to what I was talking about. Let's say you're a politician. Now, as a politician, you have all these government contracts to fill out. So now let's say let's say I'm a huge computer tech company. And as a computer tech company, I have all these shell companies. One of them is a trash company. Now I just paid this computer tech company, shell company, to take out the trash for the city. I contract the water and this through these people. I contract that. You see how it's working? So now, like, as the politician or the governor or whoever has power over those certain things, now they have money to shell out. So it's a back and forth system to where I'm not directly paying you, but it's an offer you can't refuse. So now I'm a politician in Chicago, and I know all this dumping and pollution is bad somewhere, but this company is paying me buku money to stay in office. Now I can pay all these other people to ignore it and do the bare minimum. But let's say there's $5 billion in tax revenue for a state to clean something up. Now I get that $5 billion and only spend $3 billion on cleaning shit up because I do it cheap and whatever. Now I can use the other $2 billion for other shit. Now I'm a multi-billionaire, right? I'm telling you how a billionaire does, and I build a church and all these charity organizations. Now, what I do is I go in and I pay this church all this money. This church, same with like if a person goes to, they go to somebody really expensive to get a car quote, but then when they actually get it built, they get the cheapest person possible and just made thousands of dollars. Imagine the world like that. Like you look at all this stuff and it looks beautiful and pretty, but in actuality, it was the cheapest shit you ever seen in this day and age. And so that's how politicians do, billionaires do. It's basically America's one big laundering scheme, if you think about it. It is. All these different, like, there's money everywhere going all these places, and because the government has their hand and foot in it, it's legal. Look at gambling, illegal and against the law and against God and blah, 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 because it's a Christian country, right? But it's legal in a whole bunch of areas, especially in Vegas, and prostitution and different stuff. And escorts, they call them, when it's more money involved and you can tax it and whatnot. Then you look at like, let's say let's say I own a company called Hotel and it's in Tokyo. LOL, my hoodie. I actually haven't seen this yet. But let's say I have a hotel, right? And I'm a multi-billionaire. I mean billions, making money. Because I don't just own that hotel. A lot of times when people are billionaires, they own a bunch of the shit. And you know what I mean? But their names aren't directly on it, if that makes sense. And so that's smart too. Keep yourself hidden. But all things that are hidden come to light. I'm just warning y'all. But anyways, the point is now I own this huge hotel and I have to pay 30%, 40% taxes with all this money I got. So now if what I'm doing is dumping a bunch of the money back into the company, some people can do a shady, super shady, super shady. I'm going to give you super shady. I can write all these checks or I can show all this money showing that I contracted billions of dollars to fix my company or invest back in my company, but really only spent millions. Or then I could dump a bunch of money into a church where it's tax-free. The government can't touch that church and all my money's tax-free. The pastor got a chain, a couple of jets and all, like Kenneth Copeland and all these people that are paid. But really some billionaire or trillionaires and different people are funding all this foolishness. It's just in the dark. You know what I mean? So just like when they say, like, who owns this business? It's like JP Morgan or Chase or whatever, or Vanguard or BlackRock. Then it's like, who owns that? The investors, the person who, it's like back and forth. You know what I mean? Who owns this Tokyo place? Well, JB Vanguard invests the most into it. BlackRock. Well, who owns Vanguard? The hotel place. They invest the most into it. And it goes back and forth, back and forth. So it's kind of like, what the hell? But outside of the seductive nature of these billionaires and how the system actually works, that's why I tell people a lot of times, like I've been talking all about Russia and China, right? Because before I even got on this camera talking about Russia and China, I've seen countless videos of civilians moving to both places, Africans and Europeans and all types of people. And they say they have been lied to horrendously. I mean, horrendously. Like imagine a world where everything you've been taught, like how they're third world, and also you go to these places and they are beautiful. They've got beautiful things going on. And I hear a lot of people talking about like dictator China and blah, blah, blah. So I was watching a video. There's a lot of walking videos of like Korea and Chinese different people. There's one channel. It's like walking in Sangol or something like that. It's a Korean video. what he does is he walks at night in a different, like, sometimes it'll be raining, sometimes it's snowing, and it's beautiful. But you look at these cities and it's like, oh my goodness. And then I've been watching Africans go to China and like go to school there and speak the language and stuff, and the people on the streets are kind, they're respectful. And I think here people are like, I want to be able to do whatever I want. You look at it, there's crime everywhere, people running crazy, acting nutty, and just doing whatever and just acting psycho. But then you look at these other countries and they're well kept. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't want to be somewhere where it's like, oh, party all the time. Blah, blah, blah. I want to go to work, be safe. I want my kids to be safe. You know what I mean? So I think that after waking up, I've really learned a lot. And I'm thankful that I was able to wake up in this young age of mine at 30. I think it was like, really it started at 30. And it's been a long 5 years. But it's been longer than that. But just, I don't even know. But yeah, don't be caught up in the system. Like, one thing I will tell you, if you're a Caucasian person and people are constantly accusing you of being racist, okay, shield yourself off from certain things because you don't have to deal with that bullshit. If you're trying to make an effort, if you're not racist, like, don't deal with it. And African Americans, if you are dealing with like racism and all type of crazy stuff, don't deal with it. Like, people, especially like trolls, are trying to fuel that type of shit. Most people in real life aren't acting like that. I'm telling you. And the ones that are really closeted racists and stuff, as long as they don't say nothing to your face or do nothing to harm you, you ain't got nothing to worry about anyway. Just let them be. You know what I mean? Everybody got their own opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But I'm looking towards a better world. I'm looking to make a better world. And I don't need any of the bullshit coming along, if that makes sense. So I just want to talk to as many people as possible and teach people. I want to normalize people stop saying, oh, the Pharaoh said he was God, he's evil, and all this other stuff. And I want you to start normalizing saying, I am who I am. I am the living one. I am the God of my world. Because you all are the creators and so am I. And once we start breaking away from the bondage of slavery, because Egypt only means house of bondage. Once we break away from these houses of bondage and can learn our true selves and learn our godly nature, then we can learn to exemplify God and be a part of the breath of life, that which we are and we create. Because you guys can talk about who creates human life and all that, but it's us. We create life. We mold the elements. We mold the system like cheat codes. You know what I mean? Because normally I would have had to go grow a plant and stuff it, and then stuff it with what? What's paper? What's this lighter that's creating fire? Magic didn't teach us that. All things to me are science, and magic is when science is unknown. But that's just me personally, because we could say, oh, what about religion and spirits and all that? There's, even if you want to break it down, there's still a science to it. You just don't understand it yet. Now it's all magic-y. You know what I mean? So the more we learn and the more we understand, the better off we can be. So, like I've warned Israel a million times, they're going to start showing the videos of the Jewish people throwing rocks and spitting on people and the violence, and they're showing the FAFO with the soldiers all missing legs and stuff. I get it. But I'm trying to warn Israel to the best of my ability. I have been, and they've been nothing but rude and toxic. So waiting for a magical Mashiach, and yet none of these people believe in a God, to be honest. They're following a law of Aaron, 613 mitzvahs plus the Ark of the Covenant, the first 3 commandments and the 10 commandments. The first, and I keep telling people about these metaphors. It's the spirit that hovered above the waters. What does an ark do? It hovers above waters. And so then you got the other 7 commandments, like the 7 colors in the sky, the rainbow, the 7 days, the 7 whatever. And it all comes together and makes the 10, the number of completion, and a real number system if you think about it. So, and it don't say nothing about stoning kids and killing people and all this stuff. It says thou shalt not kill and honor thy father and mother. But I come saying respect and honor and protect the child, and don't be money hoarding, money laundering liars, because there's no point. We all go to the same place and we all live the same life eventually if we fuck around and find out. So all you people that was on programs, SSI, food stamp, all you people that was getting access of money, medical, farmers, government contracted people, and all types of stuff. Businesses was getting aid too. Look at all these stimulus checks. Those went to businesses, and PPE loans and all that. Yeah, so every time I hear somebody talk about, oh, I'm a hard-working American, don't you know the more money you make and the more well-off you are, you're not hard-working, and you just running your mouth because you got a job like everybody else? Go work some of these steel mills, coal mines, nursing homes, hospitals, some of these schools in different places, while trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills, making $500,000 talking about you're tired of the poor and paying taxes. Y'all are the ones that are part of what Robin Hood was fighting against. And then y'all would talk about America 1776 as you seek to tax and slave. And because I'm telling y'all, everybody making $725, that's less than what the slaves was worth in 1862. Take 725 times 40, it ain't 750. 750 times 40 is 300. And most of these people in these southern places, I told you, the majority of humans in this continent is Caucasian. So y'all aren't hurting African Americans in the South doing that. You are, but now the Caucasians are seen as slaves in the corporate world because of how this is lived out. And I'm not saying I condone slavery or anything. I'm telling you all the numbers and how it works out. You're shrilling for billionaires that don't care about you instead of forcing them to be accountable, making them, holding them accountable for their actions and starving the poor. Because I would much rather see millions of people put in homes and housing than see a Chase Bank or a freaking hospital that's higher than the Eiffel Tower and all these other businesses. There's no reason. I keep saying this. Farming and food and raising cattle and stuff is like respawning at this point. We know how to breed them. We know how to butcher them. Same with crops. The fact that this stuff even still costs money and costs so much money is ridiculous. Scientists out here figuring out how to get rid of plastic and waste with bioengineering and life, while billionaires are talking about, I want my streets made of gold. I joked about this in a poem once. The Lord can make everything on this planet perfect. And then people would be like, why didn't you give us streets of gold? Well, then I'd have to adjust your eyes because you go blind. Then everything would just be different. Are you going to pay for that with your Google Play money on your imaginary servers? So why am I held accountable to spend all my godly money to do for ungrateful people who could simply speak into existence and behave a certain way, heaven on earth, but just refuse, I guess. So with my word and power, I do not see the positivity of free will when it's used for detriment, destruction, and harming others. And so there will be judgments for the wicked. I mean, it's like when I say that, let me rephrase that. Life is like a scale. Everything is like a scale. Everything is. And if I go to do something, there is an equal reaction. You all are causing a nuclear reaction with how you starve the poor, so to speak, with how you launder money and hoard things. Awaken and stop being programmed.